USAID. Have you heard of this demigod that was founded to help alienate poverty in some nations across the world, especially the third world nation? But instead of this stuff helping so many third world nations, it was used by some of the leaders in those third world nations to enrich themselves. Although it has been used in other nations to help alleviate poverty, but it is not to the extent of the expectations of to what it was formed about. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the USAID. Now, the United States Agency for International Development was established in 1961 by President John F. Kennedy, the then President of the United States of America, to unite existing foreign aid agencies and programs under one agency. This was a response to Cold War concerns about Soviet influence in developing countries. Why and when did it become a liability to the United States of America, leading to its ban? Was it draining the USA government, or is it all a plot to awaken African nations among other USAID beneficiaries? Responsible for the management, distribution and execution of a little more than a half of all of the long-term foreign assistance given by the American government to developing nations, the agency has been responsible for several humanitarian projects that have transformed the lives of many, but also many still complain of the misuse of the funds by their governments, a move that might have prompted Donald Trump through the DOGE department to cut off the funding. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's episode, let's talk about the rise and fall of the USAID, the money god that made many rich through oppressing and exploiting its intended purpose to the poor. My name is Movali Derek, and this is The Politician's Diary. The future of the US government's main overseas and agency remain bleak, with employees all over the world being blocked as the Trump administration plans to merge the USAID with the US Department of State. Shortly after President Trump returned to office, thousands of employees were locked out, and a few weeks later, the agency recalled its workers from missions across the world. Trump made it clear he wants all of USA overseas spending to be closely aligned with his America First approach, and the international development sector is braced for a profound effect on humanitarian programs around the world. Based in more than 60 countries and in dozens of others, the USAID provides food to countries where people are starving. It also operates the world's gold standard famine detection system, which uses data analysis to try to predict where food shortages are emerging. According to data and statistics, much of USAID's budget is spent on health programs such as offering polio vaccine, but also in some African countries, it is a tool for wealth amassing by other leaders. According to government's data, the US spent $68 billion on international aid in 2023. The total is spread across several departments and agencies, but USAID's budget constitutes more than a half of it, around $40 billion, which is about 0.6% of total US annual government spending of $6.75 trillion. The vast majority of USAID money is spent in Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa and Europe, primarily on humanitarian efforts in Ukraine. To put it into context, the UK is the world's fourth largest aid spender, spending $15.3 billion in 2023. Can Trump shut down USAID? While it's clear that White House wields significant influence over the USAID, that power is theoretically limited, and here is how that is so. USAID was created via the Congress Foreign Assistance Act in 1961. That law mandated for a government agency to be set up and tasked with administering overseas spending. Later, the then President of America, that is President John F. Kennedy, created USAID via an executive order, and this was enshrined by the US law of 1998. In short, what this means is Trump cannot necessarily abolish USAID by signing an executive order, and any attempt to do so will almost certainly face strong challenges in courts and in the Congress. Closing USAID altogether will likely require an act of Congress where Trump's Republican Party holds a slim majority in both chambers. Trump's attempt to make USAID a branch of the State Department instead of it being a government agency on its own is a revision of what UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson did when he merged the Department for International Development with the Foreign Office in 2020. Closure or no closure, the USAID still lies at the mercies of Donald Trump and the Congress, but what if it is closed? Given the size of US international aid, any changes to how that money is spent will be felt globally. USAID activities range from providing prosthetic limbs to soldiers injured in the Ukraine war, and that is another reason why Donald Trump is really trying to end the Ukrainian war with Russia. It is also involved in clearing landmines and containing the spread of Ebola in Africa. With every dollar being justified according to Rubio, what's at the stake for the world? As Donald Trump seeks to close one of the world's greatest aid, that is USAID. Do you think Africa stands a chance to stand on its own when Donald Trump does away with USAID? Ladies and gentlemen, kindly leave us a comment in the comment section. Also remember to give this video a thumbs up because that will help the YouTube to recommend this video to reach to more people. Is USAID beneficial to third world countries, or USAID is another tool that makes countries poor and dependent on the United States of America government?